Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm LeetCoder. If you guys are new here, I pretty much do LeetCode style questions and explain things in the simplest way possible. Today we have a pretty interesting problem that I'm very excited about. So let's go ahead with the prompt and read the prompt statement, right? It says longest substring with at most k distinct characters, you know what I'm saying? It says giving a string s, right, and integer k, return the length of the longest substring of s that contains at most k distinct characters. All right, pretty much what they're saying, guys. I'm saying to find the longest substring, right, inside of the string, right, s, right, that has at most k distinct characters, right? And substring, guys, is a contiguous sequence of characters within a string, right? So they have to be contiguous. I'm saying sequence. So now that's a substring. That's another substring, right? E and A it's not a substring. I'm saying they have to be contiguous. I'm saying sequence. So ECE, that's a contiguous sequence of characters. So that's a substring, right? So yeah, so pretty much they're telling us to find the longest, right? So now the longest substring in this string, right, that has at most k distinct characters, I'm saying at most two distinct characters, I'm saying it's ECE, right? ECE, there's only two characters in there, right, that forms that substring, right? Only E and C, right? Although there's two E's, that's only one character, I'm saying, one distinct character, I'm saying, just like C is another distinct character, so we add up to two, right? I'm saying, so that's how we are able to get to a length of 3, right? Because we got two E's, right, and then one C, right? And then this one is not. So let's say this one ECEB, right? ECEB, right, is not a valid substring because it says it needs to be at least 2, right? I'm saying at most 2. I mean at most. So yeah, so pretty much we could say this question is pretty much asking us to find the longest substring that fits a given constraint, right? I'm saying a given condition. I'm saying, so this is a classic sliding window problem, right? So we did a problem like that. I mean, a problem which was a static window problem. I'm saying, meaning that it was a fixed size. So this was a very good introductory to sliding window problem. So you guys should definitely check that out. Something should pop up. You guys should check it out. So this one is a dynamic sliding window problem. So yeah, so meaning that we don't know the length of the window. I'm saying the window could be really big or really small. We don't know. I'm saying, so that's why it's dynamic. I'm saying, so this is another good variation of sliding window. So how we're gonna solve it, guys, what I'm saying is that we're gonna do the sliding window pretty easily. So we're gonna have a left pointer, right, and a right pointer, guys. I'm saying the left pointer is gonna serve as the beginning of the window, and then the right pointer is gonna keep expanding the window. I'm saying, so we're gonna keep expanding with the right, and then when we want to shrink, right, we're gonna shrink by moving the left pointer forward. I'm saying, so yeah, this is a very, very good sliding window. Is a very, very good technique to master. I'm saying, so the way it applies to this question, right? So we have E, right? So left and right will be pointing to E, right? So yeah, so let's go ahead and do a couple of examples, right? So let me just go ahead and paste my stuff right here. So right now we got the first example, right? And this is K is equal to 2, so it's the exact same thing, right? So now, guys, as you guys can see here, right? So as you guys can see, right, we have the same thing here, right? So now I just spaced them out, so because we're gonna be doing like a couple examples, so it could be clear visually. I'm saying. So now, guys, we see ECBA, right? So now, originally the sliding window, right, left and the right pointer are pointing to the same thing, right? So we don't know yet. So max length is 0. So pretty much we're gonna have a couple of things, right? So we're gonna have a max length, right? That's gonna store the maximum length, right? Because we're gonna be trying different substrings, finding the longest one, right, as we go. And the max length verb was gonna help us in storing the maximum, right? So if we end up encountering a maximum that was bigger than the previous maximum that was before, right, we update that max length variable with that new maximum that we just found. So how are we gonna go about? So now they're pointing to the same thing, right? So now I told you guys we're gonna keep expanding with the right pointer, right? So we're gonna keep expanding as long as we are within the given constraint, right? So this one says no, the substring should have no more than k distinct characters. So if we're below or if we're at or below k, right, we can keep expanding. We don't need to shrink yet. But as soon as the substring becomes invalid, right, meaning that we went over, for this particular case, right, we went over the k distinct character that were allowed, right? So let's say the substring that we have, right? So ECBA, right? There's 3 distinct characters in that substring. Since we have that case, right, we would have to move the left pointer forward to shrink it because the string is invalid, right? So we'll keep shrinking the window, guys, until the string becomes valid again. So this is how the algorithm is going to work out. So we keep expanding with the right pointer, right? We expand, and then as long as the string is valid, right, we're at or below k, right? We expand, right? So as soon as the string becomes invalid, we shrink, right? I'm saying, so that until the string becomes valid, and then we keep doing that over and over. So yeah, guys, so now this originally started the same thing, right? So now the string is still valid, right? So remember, we have a map, right? The map is going to be useful in helping us keep track of how many of that character is inside of the data structure, right? And also it's going to allow us to know how many distinct characters in there, I'm saying. So it's a very, very good data structure to use, I'm saying. So, yeah. So now, guys, we're going to keep expanding, right? So now the string is valid now, right? Still valid, right? So we move R forward, right? We expand, right? Because, you know, right now, the map, right? So remember, before we expand, right? We need to account for E, right? So we see E, we've seen E one time, what I'm saying? So we put the frequency. So we're going to map the character to its frequency, right? How many of that character is present in the given string, right? I'm saying the valid string, right? So now we account for it, right? So there's one E in that substring, right? Boom, right? So now we end up expanding the right pointer, right? So now we check, right? So we remember we add C, to the map, right? To keep track of how the distinct characters, I'm saying. So we see E one time, and then we do like, all right, cool. So are we still valid? Yeah, we are still valid, right? So now, oh yeah, I forgot to change it. So remember when we were at E, right? The maximum that we saw so far was 1, right? And then once we're at this position, right? The maximum that we've seen, right, is gonna be 2 because of this substring, you know what I'm saying? So now we move R forward, right? And then we do the same thing, guys. We it's E in there, and there already, it's already in there. So we just increment +1, right? To whatever E. So now we have this substring, right? So the substring that we're considering is between the left and the right pointers, right? And then right now the string is still valid, right? Because we are of the side that we have only 2 characters in that substring. You know what I'm saying we're still a valid string, right? And then that's why we end up updating the maximum length that we've seen, right? It's the longest substring that fits, the longest valid substring, right? Is of size 3, right? So now, guys, the next thing that we're gonna do is we move forward. You know what I'm saying? Move forward. We see B. We add B in there. So we're like, now we're in a bad place right now. So we're like, we have 3 distant characters. You know, it says we can have at most 2 distant characters. You know what I'm saying? So now we're gonna keep shrinking the window, guys, with the left pointer until the string becomes valid again. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, cool. We're gonna decrement whatever character that I'm pointing at, right? We're gonna decrement it by 1, right? 1, boom. And then after we decrement it by 1, right, we check is there no more of that character in the string, right? So how we can determine if there's no more of that character in the string is if there's 0 characters, right? So no, there's still 1 character in the string, right? Which is that E, right? So so now the substring shrinks, right? The window shrinks. Now it's CEB, right? So now we check. Now we still have 3 characters inside of the substring of the window. So now what we have to do, guys, we need to so the left is pointing at C, right? We need to shrink one more time. So now we decrement the frequency, right? Because we're going to be moving forward. We're not going to be considering C anymore. C is not going to be part of the substring. That's why we ended up. That's why we decrement the frequencies, guys. I'm saying so that when the left pointer, right, was that E, right? We decremented by 1 because we're not accounting for that E anymore. Just like we're not accounting for that C anymore, we move it forward and we decrement the frequency, right? Because it's not part of it anymore, right? Part of the window. So since C is 0, right, we could remove it. I'm saying so now the string becomes valid again. I'm saying, which is what we wanted. So now the substring is EB, right? And it says the maximum length is 3, right? And since the substring is only of size 2, so it doesn't get updated. I'm saying because we're only storing the maximum. I'm saying, and then likewise after we do that, guys, you know, we keep doing that. Boom, the string becomes invalid again. I mean, we add A, and then the string becomes invalid again. You know what I'm saying, so now we need to do the shrinking. So now we move forward, right? So we decrement E by 1, right? Now it's 0, so we could take it out of the hash map so that the hash map can become valid, right? And then now it's valid again, right? Since we only have 2 characters, which is the 2 that we want right now, A. And then this substring, right, is of size 2, and it doesn't get updated, guys. So right now, hopefully you guys were able to follow the thought process and the logic, that I was trying to help you guys get what I'm saying. So pretty much I told you guys we have a left pointer and a right pointer. The right expands the window, and then when as long as the window of the string is valid, right? The string is valid is determined by, if it fits that whatever constraint that they have, right? And then just like when it becomes invalid, the left pointer, right, is going to help us in the shrinking of the window. So let's go ahead with the implementation, guys. What I'm saying. So this is going to be a very good one. So right now we're just going to do edge cases, guys. What I'm saying. So if k equals to 0, we return 0, right? Because k, so it says k can be 0, so we need to account for the edge case. What I'm saying. So if k is 0, I'm saying the longest substring with at most 0 characters is 0. I'm saying, so that's a pretty good edge case. So now the next thing that we're gonna do, guys, what I'm saying, I told you guys we're gonna have a map, right? A map that's gonna store a character. It's gonna store a character to its frequency, right? Which is gonna be integer. I'm saying. So we do map. So now we're going to have the So we keep doing that, guys. We have our hash map. Now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna have the left pointers that we talked about. The left is equal to 0. The right also equals to 0, right? I'm saying. And then now, guys, the next thing that we're going to do is to have a for loop, right? Right is equal to 0. Right is less than as that length, right? The length of the string, right? Right plus plus, right? So it's going to keep increasing the pointer, right? So now what we're going to do, guys, which is going to be very good, is that so char, right? So we get the character, whatever the character the right pointer is pointing at, right? Char right is equal to s that char at, right? The right pointer, right? So we get reference to it. After we do that, guys, the next thing that we do, we have to increment, right? So put, right? So we do char right, right? That map that get or default, I'm saying. So it's a very good function that we know. So it's going to default to if that character is now already in the hash map, it's going to default to 0, right? If it's already in there, it gets it and it increments it by 1, right? Remember that we talked about. Now the next logical thing that we're going to do, right, is we're going to have this while loop, guys. This is going to be very good. So while the left is less than the right, right, and right, so we do that so we don't like keep going at night. We're going to go out of bounds, stuff like that. So this is a very good edge case check. What I'm saying. So now the real logical thing that we're going to do, which is going to be if the map that gets size, right? If map that size, right, is greater than k, guys. What I'm saying. So if we go over the limit, right, the limit that we're given, right, of the constraint, right. So if we have more than k distinct characters, we need to start kicking stuff out. We need to start shrinking the window. I'm saying. So we do the same thing. So we get a reference. Char left, right. It's gonna be char left, char at left, right. So we get that reference. So after we get that reference, guys, we're gonna have to do the same thing. Map that put, right, char left. I do map that get or default. I mean, we know that's gonna be in there, so we don't need to do that default, right? I'm saying. So map that get the value of the left, right, and then we decrement it by 1, right. All right. So after we do that, guys, we need to check is that character, if there is there still some of that character still involved, right? If there's no more of that character in that substring, right, we remove it. What I'm saying, if map that get, right, map that get char left equals to 0, right? If there's no more of that character, we need to remove it from the hash map, right? Because there's no more of it in the substring. I'm saying, so we remove char left, right? And after we do that, guys, I'm saying we do left plus plus, right? We increment the pointer, right? And then, guys, remember to always to also add the maximum. The maximum is going to be 0 initially. I'm saying, and yeah. And after we do that, at every iteration, right, we check if that map that max, right, of to get the maximum of the previous maximum length, right, that we've seen before, or the current length that we have right now, right? So we do right minus left plus 1 to get the length of it, right? Because, you know, the index are 0 based, what I'm saying. So we do the plus 1 to account for it, what I'm saying. So that's why we do the plus 1, I'm saying. So let's see this example, right? This length, right? So this would be index 0. All right, left would be here, right? And right would be here, right? So it would be 2 minus 0 is 2, right? But that's not the length, right? So we do plus 1 to account for it, I'm saying, for the actual length, I'm saying. So after we do that, guys, you know, I think we're going to be sitting pretty good. We do return the max length, right? The maximum length. So I think our logic is pretty good. Let's see if we pass the small test cases, guys. Perfect. Let's see if we pass all the test cases, guys. Perfect, guys. We're able to pass all the test cases, guys. Now, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you guys found value, make sure to give me a like. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe because I'll be doing a lot of other videos just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next.